Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to those of you who are new subscribers as well. Welcome aboard, good to have you. Well, do I have something different for you today? I know I've been a little bit quiet on the channel lately, and I've taken a little bit of a break from all things kind of simulation and trains and whatnot. That's probably because I've been working on something new in the background, and I really debated whether I should be putting out a video this early on this project. But I thought, why not do a little bit of what's called a devlog or dev blog, and just kind of showcase where I'm up to progress-wise with this new game that you're seeing in front of you right now. So I'm just going to explain a little bit about this game today and just where I'm up to with it, what the basic premise of the game is, and where I'm hoping to take it. And who knows, we may actually see a demo of this game come out at some point soon as well, if I'm lucky. I'm only just figuring all this out as I go along as well. It's only been about a month since I've started this project, so you'll have to excuse all the rough edges that you're very likely to see in just a moment, or probably already seeing anyway. This is a very heavy work in progress, okay? So this is nowhere near even early access at the moment. But yeah, hopefully you're going to enjoy this video. And so yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video, into the game, and just explain what it's all about. So this is Hydro, and you are basically going to be in charge of a hydroelectric power plant, hence the name Hydro, okay? So in this game, basically, there's going to be a bit of a backstory, a bit of lore, perhaps, just depending on how much time I get to develop this thing. But as you're seeing on the screen here, once we get into the video, into the game, you'll see as well, there is a hydroelectric power plant. It's a very old kind of vintage power plant, as you can probably already make out, okay? And you're going to be in charge of running this power plant, okay? And there's going to be all sorts of tasks that you need to do. Things will break. You'll have to maintain stuff. You'll have to generate cash to do the maintenance and upkeep. Who knows, maybe there's going to be a bit of a survival element where you need to feed yourself and all that kind of stuff. All that stuff I'm yet to work out anyway, but I've got a bit of a bare bones of the project, of the game already, and I'm just going to hit new game in just a sec and get off this main menu finally, and you'll see what it's all about. So once I dive in, just remember that it's very, very early days, and it's a very heavy work in progress. So don't be too hard on me. Okay, here we go. Okay, so you start the game basically in a forested area. Okay, there's going to be tutorial screens and whatnot as well. Okay, so this is at one end of the map basically, and this is all based in Unreal Engine 5. Okay, for those of you wondering. And I've been using a little bit of the Unreal 5 engine technology when it comes to the landscape and features, as you're seeing. For those of you in the know, I'm using the nanite technology as well. I'm hoping to keep that in the final release. That really makes the landscape pop, in my opinion, especially those little white rocks that you're seeing on the ground there. All of that is kind of generated using a texture even, okay? So anyway, without going into too much kind of technical detail, I am trying to just kind of pump up the graphics a little bit, but obviously not make it too heavy graphics wise, so that it is accessible on a lot of different varying levels of hardware that may be out there for people that are trying to play this on their slower computers and whatnot. So as you can see, we're just making our way through the forest here. Just follow the old stony path. And there's going to be tutorial screens and whatnot as you go through. You can see here that we've made it to the riverbank here, and you're seeing a lot of kind of watery spray effects, which is still very early in progress kind of thing. I'm going to see if I can make that look a little bit better, obviously. But I think I'm fairly happy with the way the landscape presents at the moment. Okay, so the majority of the game you're going to be based here on the riverbank. I've got this very, very quick and dirty bed here, which, yeah, I know this is the first object you've really seen in the game so far, but that is just a placeholder. Don't worry, that's not the final product. Okay, that's going to allow you to sleep and pass time in the game. Okay, so here we've got the riverbank, we've got here the water wheel that we've finally made it to, and the hydroelectric plant itself. Okay, so this is basically the meat and potatoes of the game right here, where you'll be spending a lot of your time. Okay. So the basic premise of the game is that you'll be trying to generate power, okay? The backstory here is that the government, the local government's trying to rejuvenate this vintage power station because there's been a whole bunch of budget cuts and things like that. So you've got to get it working again to help serve the local community. But unfortunately, because it's a very old kind of vintage decrepit power station, there's going to be all sorts of problems with it. Okay, so here we're looking at the little mechanism. You can see here, and this little green box that was just in front of us, right there on the left, that is the oiler, and here are the oil cans. Okay, so you can pick these up and you can basically you can dump them into the oiling mechanism, and that keeps all the works kind of lubricated and working smoothly. Okay, I'll get into that in a little bit more detail in just a sec. Here I'm just showing you a little bit of the lighting effects. Okay, you can hear the lights running as well, a bit of a hum and buzz there. I don't know if you can hear that. I've set up all the audio attenuation and stuff like that, so as you move further away, the sounds fade in and fade out as you'd expect. Now, I'm not quite done with the interior as well. There's going to be roof beams and light bulbs as well, all that kind of stuff. This is the accumulator gauge. So you've got these on-site batteries that you need to keep charged up. Okay, so anything you do on-site locally, like run lights, the lighthouse, which I'll talk about, and other stuff, all drains down that accumulator. So you're not actually connected to the grid to get power, only to feed power into the grid. So obviously you've got to make sure you keep that accumulator battery charged up as well. Those numbers you see scrolling on the left there, that's the actual charge level of the on-site accumulator or the batteries. Okay, so let's just get the water wheel started first. Okay, and here's the lever for the water wheel. Okay, so when the river's flowing fast, as you can see here, we can start the water wheel, and you can see our main shaft at the top is turning. We've just got a little buzzer telling us the accumulator is being drained because we've got our interior lights running, and you can see the discharge red light there as well. But yes, this is the oiling mechanism that's running that oiler outside. Okay, so as the oiler runs, it lubricates the whole works. Okay, and then it uses oil at the same time because it's an old station, so you've got to refill that oil. This here is the grid output station. Okay, so this is where you'll adjust using that little wheel and pressing the golden little relay. You'll lock in the sync and you'll start to generate power to the grid. Okay, and that's how you'll make money in the game. Okay, now you'll notice a new sound just started up. That's the sound of the oil having been used up in the system. So this is where we have to turn off everything and ideally put new oil into the system to keep it running smoothly. Okay, it's not going to consume oil that quickly in the game. I'm just doing that for testing. This is the generator output panel. Okay, so you can switch between either charging the accumulator or the batteries, same thing, or powering the grid, which will generate cash. Okay, so the challenge will be to obviously keep the system oiled up, which I'm about to do here. So you'll have to do this on a fairly regular basis. Okay, so here's the oiler. We'll just kind of hit E and dump that in. There's a bit of an oil pouring sound. Not sure if you can hear that over the din of all the water, but you might be able to hear that when the river calms down at different times of the day. So your oil will get used up. Okay, and you'll need to order new oil cans. Okay, and pick them up from the delivery outpost, which I haven't quite done yet. Okay, so you have to keep the system oiled up, otherwise you'll get that horrible squealing sound. Currently, if you're refilling the oil, I've locked the mechanism so you can't just start it again. I may well change that. That will only last a few seconds, the refilling, and now the refilling is done. We can start the water wheel again. Okay, so anytime the river's flowing fast, okay, you can generate power. And as I was saying before, you can either choose to charge your on-site batteries or you can feed power into the grid, but you can only do one of those at a time. Okay, so I've just started the generator there, you'll see. Okay, it's now generating power, and we've chosen to generate power and feed the accumulator. So the discharge light is now off, so the accumulator, which is our big battery, is now being charged. So this huge gauge will start to increase as the voltage in the accumulator increases. Okay, so it's 400 volts max, and you can see there we're way down on the other end at the moment, and you can see the oil has been consumed once again. Don't worry too much about that. In the final product, I'm not going to make the oil, like I said, get consumed so fast. This is more just for testing purposes. So right now, low oil has no real mechanical effect on the system. But what I'm hoping is in the future I'll have some sort of wear and tear model where the whole thing can seize up if you've run with no oil for a long time, and then I guess it's game over at that point. So I won't do anything about the low oil for the moment. We'll just let the accumulator charge up. You can see those numbers on the left there scrolling upwards now. That's just for development purposes, so the battery is charging. So we'll just have to live with that horrible grinding noise for the second. But I just wanted to talk about the interior lighting as well. So all the lighting inside the building, including those gauge lights that you're seeing there, they will actually get brighter and brighter as the accumulator charges, as the voltage increases. And I think that's a cool effect, because from the outside at nighttime, if your battery is really full, you'll know, because the whole powerhouse will be just lit up like a Christmas tree basically. So we'll just let that increase in charge. And so that's one of the duties you'll have in the game, is to make sure that your accumulator has enough charge. And you may be wondering, well, what else can you use the accumulator for? You know, is it just going to be the interior lights? No, I'm actually planning on having other things in the game that you can that will use the on-site batteries, such as a lighthouse. Okay, so you'll need the lighthouse at night time to help guide boats and ships through the area. Okay, so the challenge will be, obviously, like I said, is you've got to keep that accumulator charged up, and obviously while you're charging the accumulator, you're not making any in-game cash because you're not feeding the grid, right? So ideally, once you've got some accumulator charge, some healthy charge, you can flip over and start generating cash. And we'll do that now by flipping this breaker into grid. You'll notice the red light's gone on the accumulator gauge, telling us that, okay, you're now draining power out of the batteries again. Now there's a bit of a mini game involved before you can start generating grid power. You have to basically sync up your generator to the national grid, okay? And you do that by hitting the Q and E keys to move the excitation wheel left and right. And then you press the T key, which I just did there, to lock in the sync that you want when the needle reaches that area. And you can see it's a very erratic movement there. And I've managed to lock in just over 60 Hertz here. So it's actually generating at a slightly faster rate than the power grid. And yeah, so basically you can move the lever left and right, the wheel, and then you can resync if you want to, just by hitting the T key. It's entirely possible to get a bad sync, okay, if the red lights are on. But you can see there I've just synced again, and if you get a good sync, basically you can generate more power and make more cash. I won't go too far into that. I'll let you guys, hopefully if you guys ever get your hands on the game as well, you'll have a bit of a go at that. That's a little bit of a challenge there, just trying to get the sync locked in so that you're synced up to the grid, so that your generator's feeding out power to the grid at the right frequency, as you can see. So that's your sync gauge there. Okay, the accumulator is being drained now because we're powering the grid. Okay, and this is when we're powering the grid. This is when we start making money. Okay, in the game. So obviously the idea is you've got to keep your accumulator charged up for local power demand, but also you've got to feed power into the grid too. And you can only do one of those at a time. So you've got to flip between them as you go. And then obviously you've got to maintain your oil level so you don't get what I'm getting here, that horrible grinding noise and sparks flying everywhere like that, because that's just not ideal like that. The shafts are all wearing out and all that kind of stuff, which is not good. And I will say just quickly, it is entirely possible to go through a day and night cycle, multiple of those. If you've synced up to the grid and the water's flowing fast, it will just maintain that sync for days on end. But it's unlikely that that will occur, because at the end of every shift when you sleep, and I'll show that shortly, the river flow randomizes, you'll lose your sync, and you'll need to resync later. Okay, so just updating you on what I just did. I just turned off the generator and I'm about to turn off the water wheel, and I'm doing this now because I just want to refill the oil. Let's stop that horrible grinding noise. So pick up our new oil can, refill the oil once again. So this will be one of your duties to do, obviously, as a powerhouse custodian. Okay, and then we'll just wait for that oil to refill. During the day we probably don't need these lights on, so we can actually save power by turning them off, save the accumulator. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to test out the day-night cycle. So in the game you're going to have the day shift and the night shift, okay? And time will pass between those shifts. So what you're going to have is a little fatigue meter at the bottom of the screen, so that you'll get tired as the day goes on, and then you'll need to come into your sleeping quarters. This is the placeholder bed, and then basically hit E to rest. Okay, so let's do that now. And so we've completed the day shift. Okay, we've generated a bit of power for the day. We've generated a bit of cash. We've charged up the accumulator a little bit there. Now we're resting, and we're going to begin the night shift. Okay, and the cool thing about this is between every shift, the game will randomly choose your river flow. Okay, so this is the first time you're seeing the river is actually dead. Okay, now in the lore of the game, the reason why this power station was abandoned in the first place is because the river is not what it used to be. Okay, it used to fast flow all the time, and they used to make a whole bunch of cash and power generation out of it. But unfortunately these days, for whatever reason, the river slows down sometimes. And unfortunately that means that we can't do anything power generation wise, okay, when the river is dead, as it were. Okay, so if you've entered a new shift, whether it's day or night, and the river is dead, you kind of just have to go through that whole phase and hopefully make sure you've got enough accumulated charge from before in your batteries to keep the lights on for that shift. Okay, so on nights, for example, if the river's dead, this is where we may have boats coming through, and you have to go next door and basically turn on the lighthouse. So I'll show that shortly as well. Haven't actually got the lighthouse built yet. Haven't quite gotten that far, but there's a lot of code and a lot of stuff that's going on already in the background about what you're seeing at the moment. So let's head outside, and I'll just show you a little bit of the night sky, which I've implemented here in the game. So you'll see here we've got some nice stars and a little bit of cloud cover as well, just a little bit there. I'm still working on the lighting for the exterior. Okay, so I've kind of lighted artificially the outside of the building here, but I'm going to work on how to make that a little bit better, I think, so that you're not just in pitch black, but it's not too lit as well. Got to find that balance. This is going to be the site approximately of where we'll have a lighthouse in the future. Okay, so your duties at night time, when the river's dead, boats and ships will come through here, and you can see there's a bit of space to go past, but obviously they don't want to ram into anything. So what we're going to have is these little marker lights out in the water, I guess, little poles sticking up. Okay, and they're going to have red lights, okay, which you can activate. And also there's going to be a lighthouse in this approximate location as well next door, where you'll actually have to man the lighthouse. And you guessed it, obviously because the river's dead, you're not generating any new power at that time. You're going to have to make sure that there's enough charge in your accumulator to run that lighthouse for the entirety of your night shift. Okay, and if you don't, if the lighthouse goes dark, if your marker lights on the shore, if they turn off as well, then you'll be there'll be a penalty as well for the player. But we've reached the night shift, the end of the night shift there. We'll go ahead and rest once again. Let's just imagine that the ships have gone by. We've been able to light them, and they've been able to pass through. We've gotten our reward. Now it's a new day, okay? So this is now day 2 in the game. So this is our new day shift now that's started. And the game has once again chosen randomly for us to not have a fast river, unfortunately. So once again, we've got we can't generate any power today. But there's going to be all sorts of tasks that you can do during the day on the days when the river is dead, because obviously we're not generating any power here. What I should be doing here actually is just turning off these lights so they don't drain the accumulator too much more. Okay, because once this gets to 0, all the lights turn off and you can't do anything unless you generate more power and feed that back into the battery. And you've got to wait until the river's flowing before you can do that. So an example of what you can do during the days when it's quiet as well is, like I was saying before, there's going to be marker lights on the shore here, little poles poking up out of the water, and you'll have to maintain those lights. There's going to be potentially a fuse mechanic, so fuses will wear out and blow up. Okay, and you'll need to basically go out into the water there, just replace those fuses, make sure those lights are kept in check and operational. Okay, and there's going to be other things inside the powerhouse as well, potentially, or maybe in the sleeping quarters itself, not too sure yet. But you'll need to order new oil, okay, because as you see here, we've been using our oil cans and we've only got one left. So what I'm hoping to do is somewhere along here there's going to be a little hiking trail. Okay, and this is going to kind of go up into the hills a little bit, and there's going to be what's called a little delivery outpost. Okay, so the delivery outpost, what you'll do is you'll place orders, okay, say the night before, at your desk for, say, new oil, or maybe you'll place an order for some new fuses and stuff like that, and then you'll go and pick those up and you'll perform those maintenance operations on the calm days, okay, such as this. The other thing that you can probably do is, I'm hoping to implement, is a bit of a fishing mechanic, okay? So you can get your fishing rod from your sleeping quarters, you can come out here and you can start fishing, okay? And then to go with that, obviously, is potentially a bit of a survival mechanic where you'll need to consume food, right? Otherwise you'll die in the game. So you'll do some fishing on those quiet days. You'll change some, change the fuses, top your oil up, just do all the maintenance and upkeep around the place, okay? And then take a rest. And then basically once you've completed that shift where it's been quiet, we're now going to load up into the next shift, and look at that. Now the game's decided, you know what, the river's now flowing once again. So there's no rhyme or reason to the river flow. It could be nighttime you get fast river flow, or it could be nighttime you get a slow river, and vice versa during the day as well. Now on the shifts where the river's flowing fast, obviously you should be getting inside and starting up that water wheel, and hopefully you've maintained it so that it's full of oil and ready to go, so that when you come in here you can start it up and it's going to run nice and smoothly, as you can hear there, no grinding noises. And then you can decide what you're doing for that night shift. Are we going to charge up the accumulator because it's low, in which case that's what we're doing now, or are we going to start generating some money through our economy system and start generating grid power? Okay, so there's those decisions that you have to make at the beginning of each shift. What are we doing? Are we going to charge the accumulator so that we've got some charge for potential lighthouse duties in the future? Or do we have enough accumulator charge for us to just actually start generating grid power for that shift? Okay, so in each shift you've got a bit of a decision to make there before you need to go to bed again. And obviously if the river's dead, then you won't be generating any power, but that's when you can utilize that time to actually maintain the power station. So you need to make sure you make your decisions carefully, because if you don't have that battery charge, accumulator charge, there'll be a penalty for those days when the lighthouse needs to run. And vice versa, if you haven't been generating enough grid power, then you'll find yourself low on cash and you can't maintain the power station, new oil and fuses and stuff like that. So you've got a little bit of a decision there to make, quite a few decisions there to make actually, throughout the course of your shifts in the game, and to make sure that you're able to upkeep the power station, okay? And I know it doesn't look like much at the moment, but I'm going to have these on-screen widgets that's going to show the power that you're generating. It's going to show your wallet cash amount and all that kind of stuff, okay? Like I said, I think I might have mentioned there's going to be a table inside where you can sit down and you can send messages, send orders. You'll receive messages as well saying there's going to be a boat tonight kind of thing. At night time, if the river's fast like this, if the river's flowing fast, there's not going to be any boats going by. But I don't know, that may change. You might have boats trying to come through the fog, as it were. This area right here that I'm showing is where I'm hoping to put a whole big 3D model of the accumulator batteries. So you can imagine from floor to ceiling a whole big bank of battery accumulators there. Maybe some maintenance required on the accumulators as well, who knows. Okay folks, so I think I'll end it there. Thanks so much for watching if you made it this far. Please like the video if you did like it. Please comment your thoughts as well, and please subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to view future updates on this game, hopefully as it progresses. I'm hoping I can keep going at the pace I've been going thus far over the past month. I've been pretty much head down on this thing outside of work, just smashing through learning Unreal Engine 5, and yeah, I think I'm fairly happy with my progress so far as well. There's still a lot to go. Like I said, interior needs to be fitted out even further. Got to have some nice roof beams up top inside the ceiling there. Got to have light bulbs, all that sort of stuff. Exterior lighting. Gameplay wise as well, there's heaps to do. Got to put some sort of message system, ordering system for supplies. I've got to have a save game, a load game logic. All that stuff has to be figured out still. I have no idea how I'm going to do it, but I'll have to work it out somehow. this is my first game TM trademark registered kind of thing. So yes, I really hope that I can take this game places, and hopefully this has been enough of a taste and a teaser for you all as well, just to kind of get you excited a little bit about it, and really keen to hear your thoughts. Hopefully you're positive about what you've been seeing so far as well. I'm just testing out here the attenuation as you get further away from the wheelhouse, the power station, sorry, and the water wheel. You can hear the grinding noises. So I'm thinking maybe there'll be some noise complaints if you run that oil too low for too many shifts as well before the whole thing blows up. But yes, anyway, let's just quit out of there for now and back to the main menu. I don't even have a quit menu even at this point. There's no escape menu or anything like that. So main menu I've just kind of conjured up there, and basically just running a video of the game in the main menu. So yeah, still need to do the options menu. There's going to be a help menu I'm envisaging. So in addition to the tutorial screens, I mean, if I can't do the tutorial screens in time, I might just have a help screen. So you just click help from the main menu there, and you just scroll through a whole bunch of help, okay, to kind of guide you along how to play. But yeah, you've seen a lot of the main components and features in this video so far, but there's still more to come. So I don't have the passing boats and ships yet. I don't have the sleeping quarters. I don't have the table, the desk where you can send telegram messages and receive them, okay, to order new supplies. All that sort of stuff has to be figured out, okay. I've basically got sheets and sheets of paper full of bullet points describing things that I still want to do, okay. So the fishing mechanic, I don't know, maybe you got to change light bulbs as well, who knows. This is a very kind of power station-y Thomas Edison-esque kind of game, I guess. It's kind of old vintage power station from the 1930s or so. So I think it's going to be a cool premise, just trying to maintain this old power station and keeping it topped up and with oil and keeping it working well and maintained, so that you can serve the community with power, I guess. So yes, all sorts of things I still need to do around the economy system as well, the wallet and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I'll cut it here, I think, and thank you so much again for watching. And yeah, hopefully more devlogs in future, more devlog videos. I'll try and do one at least every month or so, if not more regularly. I don't want to do too many. I want to try and make some major improvements first before I do another video. So who knows, you might find this game on Steam soon, or maybe after a few months I'll just decide it's all too hard and I'll throw it away in the bin. Hopefully not the latter. But yes, thanks so much again for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.